All right. According to StreamYard, we are live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to
Morning.
Minnassa Wellness. I see my boyfriend is here, Terrell Stash, who had his birthday. He was on the
Hey.
show with Richie wearing his crown, just rocking his kingness. And so it was very good to see him. And so I had this whole plan to make this video and tell him happy birthday. And so, like at 8 o'clock at night, I'm sending him a text wishing him happy birthday. I just told him, listen, all my
Happy
grandiose
birthday.
plans, yeah, all
Happy
my grandiose
birthday.
plans didn't work. So,
Right.
there it is. There it is. So I want to welcome everyone as they're coming in. I'm waiting to see the notification drop. Want to ask you at the beginning, because I always forget, please hit the like button. Thank you for those of you who are here who will be here during the show, and for all of you who watch after the fact. Thank you so much. And even those of you who watch after the fact, please hit the like button. And I am excited about today's show. Uh, this is the third and the last series on healing. We began with Adrienne, and she did a healing modality where she used her sound healing.
Mhm.
Then the last show was with Sonia Rain Lee, and she did a meditation ending the show. And then today we have Toni from Shining Hawk Healing, and I am just so excited. I feel like with her and Adrienne, I feel like that little cousin that's trying. Oh, thank you, Gerald, who's trying to get the attention of that older cousin. So pay
Oh,
attention to me, pay attention. Hi, and so, but I watch just there is a dynamic. I mean, when Adrienne pulled out her gongs and things and her bowls, and like, this is a 200-year-old. I was like, oh my Lord, what is going on here? Just the power that when she steps into that healing space and comes into alignment with that, there was such a power. And the same with Toni. I mean, the same with Sonia. And so I'm excited because Adrienne told me, now if you have Toni do something like this at the end of your show, be prepared because y'all gonna get blown out the water. And I'm like, so I've always had that in the back of my mind, like, okay, let me lock myself to my chair before we get started so we can, so we can
wow.
do that.
I hope I can live up to that.
I'm sure
Thank
even
you
if you
so much,
sing, you
Adrian.
have such a beautiful voice. So I'm just gonna yeah, and as Gerald was talking about, you could see that energy shift when she went into that mode. It was palatable. And that power, and that's one of the reasons, in my mind, I thought I'm going to invite these three amazing ladies, and I think Spirit was
Mm.
like, yeah, think that this was your idea. Go ahead, go ahead, and to see, that even Sonia we had a conversation before where she wanted to do more healing. That's so she just got her Reiki master, got her third
Mhm.
attunement, and so I really feel that in this world that all this ugly stuff that's coming up, let's look at it and then say, thank you for showing yourself. I will send healing here. I will send light here. Thank you. I will send love and healing here. And so I think there is that spiritual eye that has to see that. I know, huh? We're going to get that. Okay, Gerald, challenge accepted. I'm going to get the three of y'all together and just be
Okay.
prepared. Just get your seat, get your belt from your house coat, and just tie yourself to your seat and be prepared. Okay, it's on. It is on. Probably should do Black History Month. So we'll just bring like boom, just bring the ancestors and just blow up. Be like, how come there was an earthquake in all these places? Like,
Yeah,
sorry,
it's
Tennessee. I know
crazy.
y'all don't have earthquakes.
It's crazy. It feels like the energy, it definitely feels like we're in this shift. It feels like we're, sort of in the eye of the storm a little bit because now the elections are coming up in a few days and I've already voted. So I've released that energy and the thing is that there is still a lot of energy free floating anxiety that's happening in the collective. And if you're really, an empath or an intuitive or really, really sensitive to it, then you feel that, that rumbling, that sort of first chakra energy that's sort of flowing through the collective with all this anger and anxiety and fear and all that stuff. So
What does that mean? Okay, it looks to me like Toni is frozen, but I don't know if it's Toni or if it's me. Okay, it looks like it's her. I'm trying to look at the at the at the I've got the channel up here too. So Toni, it looks like you're frozen. Oh, and hey. So while Toni is gonna get herself unfrozen, let me just say my welcomes. First of all, welcome to my boyfriend, Gerald, who was here at the beginning. I praise you and thank you for your support. Toni will be back. Hello to Renee. And yes, Renee, I realized when I made that comment about the earthquake that yes, someone told me that years ago there was an earthquake so big that it changed the route of the Mississippi River. So indeed. And hello to Janet P., my beautiful friend, and who always supports me. Mornings with Minnassa, Mindful Mornings with Minnassa. Where y'all at? Okay. So Janet P. and Dolly always there, always let me know that there. I appreciate that. And Viviani, good morning. Good morning. And Viviani, such an excellent moderator, already knocking out the park. Yes, please like and remember to subscribe. Let me make sure I got everyone. Gerald, Janet P. Viviani, Renee. All right. Dolly, got you. I'm Viviani. Thank you for being such a great moderator. I'm waiting for Toni to come back. And while we're waiting for her, I never say this at the beginning of the show, but I want to let you know that this is a safe and sacred space. This is a light-filled and positive space. And even now at the beginning of this show that I know, because I've already invited them in, that I've asked Archangel Michael to send a regiment of angels to protect us in the ethereal and the spiritual realms, and then to protect us here. Protection, body, mind, soul, and spirit. And this is a healing space and a divine field space. And I want you to know that you are all welcome. And I'm glad that you are here. And thank you for those of you, again, who will watch after the fact. Now, we're going to do healing with Toni. When she comes back, we're going to do I'll pull a card for the collective. She has her amazing tarot deck that she's going to pull from, and then I'm going to pull from my mindful messages. So let me go and get my phone in case Toni's trying to text me. I'll be right back. All right, here we go. It's funny to see the delay on the channel. So I just left and now here I am. So again, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And I really got some great friendships. You know, Gerald and Dolly, we're not that close, but we're also not that far away. I would love to maybe over the next 3 months, I know with the holidays and all that sort of stuff, but I think I told Gerald already the halfway point. I tried to look at the halfway point between where Dolly and I are, and there's just not a lot of cities. Chicago would be good, but that's not halfway for Gail and I, but it's still worth the drive. So let me call you out in public that I want to meet with you in person, grab a meal. To me, that is where love completes. It's at the meal, having dinner, breaking bread with people. You know, I always think it's magical that in the narrative after the death and resurrection of Master Teacher Jesus, that there were people who were moaning and groaning about what happened. He comes, of course, in his resurrected, which means that he has transformed and went through a catharsis. So he's in an evolved state that most human eyes couldn't recognize. And they were telling them all about the problems. And so Master Teacher Jesus set them straight about what was going on. And when they break bread, when they sat down, when they became mindful in that space, and then boom, they recognized the divinity in their midst. So my Thanksgiving plans, Renee, is I will be in California hugging my mama for the first time since 2019. And I am thrilled. I said, let's go to a restaurant. So my intent was so she wouldn't have to cook. She is 86 years old, still healthy and all that mess. So, but still. So we're trying to go to this place, and I wanted to buy whatever, 2 meals, because I wanted to have leftovers. But now my mama's going to cook. So you see the smile on my face. I'm glad. First of all, glad that she's able to do that. And yes, my mama's cooking. So now while we're waiting for Toni, I'm going to begin the show. Let's just become present. Everybody saying hi, yay, Dolly. I would love to meet you. And Renee, we close. We don't even have to work hard to try to meet. Here she is. We don't even have to work hard to try to meet. So let's just pick a place. Maybe Renee, Crosstown Concourse. Welcome back.
I don't know what happened. Everything just went out. We had a power outage yesterday.
Well, it's very funny because I meant to say to you backstage, hey, just in case I go away, keep going with the show because we're having just boom, 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 crazy winds, and that can affect.
Okay,
it's like
yeah.
hilarious. So when you first froze, I thought, is that me? Because oftentimes when I freeze, it looks like everyone else is frozen, but it was really me.
Oh, yeah. I just lost everything, picture, everything. And it just said, you've just lost everything.
So, and you're like, thank you very much. Okay.
Oh my gosh, you guys. So I'm
Very
sorry.
good. Well, no worries. So I told him that we were gonna start. I already let him know, like I had spoken with you, that this is a safe and sacred space. I've called in the angels of protection, and that we're talking about healing, so that we're gonna pull cards for the collective. And so what I'm asking is, what is the energy, or how? Not even that, because what should we be doing? What is our energy during these last 2 months? That as people of the light or light workers, what should we be doing? Or I'll say, because maybe it's more our way of being. How should we be? What is our energetic stance for this time of year? We have 2 months. And I always tell people, I don't know what the magicalness about January 1 is, because the real New Year is March 21st anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I'll pull mindful messages on what are ways that we could be more present to what we need to do.
Well, these two cards fell out. So it's about getting clear, very clear about our purpose. And, and not being waylaid or sort of distracted. Like Obama says, squirrel, we're just getting distracted by so many things. And, it's not a huge criticism, because we all get distracted. We're human beings. This is what, we do. But now, right now, while, at this point where everything is so up in the air and so negative and all of that. So we have to be very clear on our purpose. And if our purpose is to spread more love, then we have to be more loving. If our purpose is to heal, then we have to do more healing. We just have to keep doing it. And, and practice makes perfect. If you feel like you're not at the place where you want to be, get in there, get your hands dirty, practice. That's what's going to get you to the place where you want to be. Your purpose, whatever your purpose is, and you know what it is. And people say, I don't know what my purpose is, but you know, your soul knows what it is. Your guides know what it is. So just allow yourself to hear it in your heart. Allow yourself to hear the things that your guides are saying to you. Just allow yourself to be in that place of knowing exactly what it is that you are here to do. And then this joy, this is a double rainbow that I caught with my camera. And I was like, I'd never seen a double rainbow before. So we are on the way to this. We are on the way to this. Doesn't look like it right now. but we're pulling in that joy and that loving energy, because the pendulum has swung so far in one direction that it has to swing back. So just expect that more joy will come into your life, and allow it to be so.
Mm-hmm. So yes, I thank you, Renee, for schooling me. So yes, 1-1 is a portal, but the astrological new year begins with the sign of Aries, which is in March 21st or 20th or 22nd is always around that time. And so yes, thank you. And I don't know if I said hello to my sweet Katie, my little sweetie, and we're doing a show together going over the Nag Hammadi index. And so we looked at Old Testament, New Testament, and so we're going to be going over that. And we'll be doing that again on the 15th. Now, I pulled my little mindful message card so on target with Toni. That connects, there's that oneness, there's that spirit. And so the first card is self-appreciation. It says, you've got to find a moment throughout the day that I can dedicate to myself. Find a comfortable space, bring a pen and paper. I will write a letter of appreciation to myself, or I'll pour love into who I am and all that I do. And that's that really understanding your purpose, and that you might have 4 or 5 purposes. Not like I came here to do one thing. No, I came here to have a child, and I came here to be the daughter of my mother, and I'm the wife of Gail, and I'm here with this beautiful family. So all of that's a purpose, but there is a way that there is a soul purpose. And the way to know that, like Toni says, what it is, you got to listen to yourself. Spend some time with yourself. And then if it couldn't be more clear, here it goes. Next card is, here we go, tune in.
Tune in.
Tune in. Today, before doing what I normally do, I will take a moment to slow down, to place my hands at my heart space and take a few deep breaths. I will ask myself what I truly want, and I will honor however I'm feeling. How much, I'm like a straight hater on the Kardashians. I never talk about it, but but let me tell you one thing about them. They're on their game and they have a purpose. Now, I'm not saying get down with that, but again, so many of us are like, I get up and boom, I got out of bed and I got my tea. Okay, but what was your purpose for this day? So tune in. Toni was talking about that. Tune in. Who are you listening to? Who are you watching? What are you about? And what are you feeding your soul? And then my last card is loving space. And I cannot learn other people's lessons for them. They must get there themselves and at their own time. I can simply hold a loving space for them. And I think as we step into this election, to really hold a loving space. I have friends that want to post all these memes about Trump, and then I know there's people that are posting all these memes about Biden. Okay, that's fine. But in the end, I will say, and this is my opinion, that our country came one day away from losing the democracy we have. Now, Toni and all of us as women and as people of color, we can say the freedom, but we still got more freedom than many people around this world. And we came one day away from losing that. And I think because people were holding space, and I think once we all got to watching, instead of getting angry, I think people got to praying and bringing that energy around. I think there were people who were told ahead of time, you got to hold space for this country, who were doing rituals for this country. Hey, Gertrude, welcome. And that again, let us hold space. Let us hold space without judgment. Because the ugliness that I see, that I call ugliness in other people, that was in me. And I did the work, and there's still ugliness in me. Believe me, let me tell you, being here in the South, I can get in some of these stores and say, did you go to school? Do you know anything about taking care of clients, right? That want to be judging. My mom called me a black Karen one day because I got all excited about something. Now, I will say that I was under the influence of my anesthesia because I'd had surgery that day. And so I got upset at Starbucks. And she's like, you being a black Karen. Right. So that means I have that Karen energy in me as well.
That's the thing is, like, as people, as human beings, as a collective, we're all one. Yes. And what we see in another person, whether it be good or bad, we have that in ourselves, because every person that you meet is a mirror for you. And it's a mirror that's held up to you so that you can see either your divinity or you can see what darkness or shadow might be lurking within. So
Correct.
if you see it and it makes you feel a certain way, then that's the point where you have to examine. You have to examine what it is about that person that's setting you off, because that's in you, right? So maybe you have done what they did to you, you've done to somebody else. Maybe that's an opportunity for you to not only forgive them, but also forgive yourself for being, a way that doesn't, align with where you want to be. So, um, check that out.
Very true, very true. And I appreciate, Toni and I had, today's show is about healing. I'm getting ready to give this show over to Toni for healing. But I will tell you, the hardest sentence I ever said in my life was I was leading the prayer call for the spiritual center that I served at. For those of you who don't know, I resigned my position because I'm ready to move forward to do some new things, but I still support the spiritual center. But in saying that, talking about, if you saying, talking all this mess about Trump and all these people talking all this mess about Biden, whoever, how are you any different? We're called to be in the world, but not of it. So if you can say, I can say, I love Gail, and I can say, I love Lily. If I can't say, and I said this sentence, that I love Donald Trump, right? And I almost choked saying it then. I'm better at it now, right? Who Jesus, master teacher Jesus said himself, it's easy to love the people that you like. Anybody
Yes.
can do that. But can you love those you dislike? Now, I'm not sending him any of my money. I'm not trying to hang out with him. But I have to understand that the divine is in him. We are one.
Mm-hmm. He just uses it for a different,
Correct.
purpose,
And he's
you know?
disconnected from it. He's
And
disconnected
totally.
from his true
And
divinity.
you've gotta forgive. You don't have to like it, and you never have to forget that this person did whatever they did to you, for you, around you, whatever. But you can always forgive that part of them that is not connected to to the divine.
Indeed.
And so that all, when you extend that forgiveness, it opens your heart to more love, to bringing in more love, so that now you can spread more love around. You've taken care of that one. Let him go about his business, do what he's doing. There's nothing we can do to stop, you know, his soul from doing the things that it wants to do. So we have to allow him to be the way he is, forgive that which is not of the divine, and then move on, and not forget, but don't give that person any more energy. Don't
Indeed.
extend your energy to that person in any way, because that's what they do. They suck up and they
That's
absorb
right.
that
That's
energy,
right.
and that makes them more powerful. So when we concentrate and we give that attention and that energy to this person who's being horrible, yes, and you want people to know about it, but when we stick with it and we hang on every word, or we hang on everything that they've done, that's us giving power to that person. So not telling people what to do, and never want to be never want to be accused of trying to make people do anything at all that they don't want to do. But I'm just spreading that information, that the energy that you give is, you have to be very kind of select in what you
Indeed.
give to people.
Indeed. 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 Well, all right. Let's talk about healing. What does healing mean to you, Toni?
Healing is balance. Healing is a balance between the light and the darkness. Healing is putting yourself in a place of love and a well-being. So when when you wake up on a day that the sun is shining, you feel great, everything in your body feels like it's working perfectly. That to me is healing. That to me is a healed individual. When you find that there is a dis-ease in your body, a feeling that doesn't make you feel that way, like the sun is shining and everything is great, then that's when, when you have to put your intention in, inward, and you have to bring in that energy from the universe, bring in from Mama Gaia. What I do if I'm not feeling well, I go out and I'll stand on the ground, and allow that energy to just come up into me, and I use that energy to heal. There's so many different ways to heal, so many different modalities, and so many different ways to bring in a healing. But not being a physician, not being a medical doctor, I concentrate on energetic healing, and energy healing is something that everyone can do, and we're all doing it anyway, whether we're conscious about it or not. We bring in that energy daily. Sometimes if we know what we're doing and how to do it, it's faster. But if we don't really understand it as well as we could understand it, then it takes a little bit longer, and it may mean that you have to go to someone who understands energetic healing a little bit more than you. Acupuncturists, massage therapists, chiropractors, Reiki healers, energy healers, shamans, whatever it is that, Chinese medicine, whatever it is, those modalities, they've been created for a reason, because it helps the collective be more balanced.
Indeed. So can you share some of your, I know that you are a shaman. Can you share some of your journey in that?
Oh, well, I told this story a long time ago. When I first started out, I was seeing this bird, the phoenix, everywhere I went. And I was like, what is happening? Why is this bird just showing up for me all the time? I'd see the word phoenix. I'd see the bird in different iterations of fire, and bird-like energy. I went to the post office one day, and I was in New York City, Manhattan, and the guy behind the counter asked me, do you go to sweat lodges? And I didn't know him. I had
Mm.
never even spoken to this guy, and it was my it was my guide talking through him, going, hey, 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 you need to go to a sweat lodge. And I didn't even know what sweat lodges were. Even it's just, I wasn't in that place yet. I had experiences when I was younger about seeing, uh, people who had passed on, that kind of thing, and having this knowing, this clear cognizance, this clear knowing of things that would actually happen. And when they happen, it was like, oh, well, this must be deja vu or something like that,
Mm.
right? So when I moved to California, I went to this place called Lake Shrine, and there in the gift shop at Lake Shrine, you walk all the way through around the lake, and there's a huge phoenix in there.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, that's enough of this. Let's see what's going on. And so I went and started looking at sweat lodges, started, doing some research about sweat lodges and what to do. And I found this wonderful sweat lodge in Pasadena, that where I met
Mm.
my first teacher. And it was the most amazing experience. It was hard to do. I'm light of the sweat lodge. It's hard, but it was the most amazing experience and freeing experience for me. Um, and then I just started taking classes under her tutelage. And my first ceremony was in Joshua Tree in the desert. and and that's when I was introduced to my spirit name. And I also was visited by my ancestors in a very amazing way, where I went out to do my circle, which we had to leave camp to do it. We out in the desert, no lights, no nothing. It was dark, pitch black, only the stars. And so I did my circle. I'm standing in my circle and didn't know what else to do. So I start singing, and I'm singing and I'm looking around, and all of a sudden I see these two lights, and they're sort of coming towards me. And they were sort of yellow lights, and I thought it was the rangers who were coming, because they want you to be in the camp at night. They don't want you to be walking around. So I thought it was the rangers coming to tell me to go back to camp. So I stopped singing and I just watched the lights. And then one light, they both stopped. One light took off up into the sky, turned white, and then went across the sky like that. And I was like, okay, this is not a ranger. And I started to get really scared, because I thought, all right, so I've moved all the way to California to be abducted by aliens.
Correct, correct.
So my teacher had given me, I used this ring. She had taken this ring from me, and she gave me a little jade frog. And she said, if you need my help, just hold the frog and just call me, call me, call me. So I'm rubbing this frog and I'm going, the aliens are coming to get me. Come out here. Somebody help me. She never came. So I sat there all night watching this one light that stayed with me. I was afraid, just totally afraid. And in the name of the ceremony was Night on the Mountain of Fear. So so I was scared. I was afeared. So I watched all night. The light came a little bit closer and just stayed there. It didn't come all the way to me. It just stayed there. And then I just watched it. It watched me. And when the sky started to get lighter outside, I thought it was the sky getting lighter. But at some point I looked up and all these orbs were right there. They were just right there. And I knew that it was all of my ancestors coming to see me. And I kept hearing, she's here, she's here, she's finally here. It was weird. It was so friggin' weird. And so it was like it felt like all the stars had just come down, like so that I can almost touch them. And that was my first entrance. That was my entrance into shamanism. And I received my spirit name, which is Shining Hawk. That's my spirit name. And,
Okay.
And just recently was introduced to another guide of mine, and this guide, his name is Firebird,
Which is a phoenix, right?
Yes, and he was a shaman before Christ, in like the 14th, I don't know, somewhere in Peru. So that's one of my guys. So that's my entrance story into shamanism.
Wow. So now tell me, so let's talk about the ways that, what are your favorite healing modalities, and what are the healing modalities that you work with?
I work with Reiki, and I do a lot of Reiki healing, distance healing, that kind of thing. I do sound healing, and I know that you've experienced that with Adrienne. So, and that's a very powerful healing. I just did this thing with Jody Roberts, and she, oh my gosh, if you can get one of her recordings, they're awesome, unbelievable, and they really do help with balancing out your chakra system, and working on, depending on what it is that you want to work with. So I do a lot of hands-on healing, and prayer, and meditation, and I do journeying. So journeying and soul retrieval are two things that that shamans are trained to do. And it's it's a it's a sort of a it's really big. And when you're going for a soul retrieval, it's you really have to have all your you have to be ready for it, and you really have to have all your ducks in a row, because you never know what's going to happen afterwards. Because sometimes things get worse before they get better.
True.
you
Now,
know
so what is soul retrieval?
when you go back to when you take steps backward into the past to find where you've cut off a part of your soul. It's something that you've got have had, like trauma, some kind of trauma in your life, and who hasn't had that? we,
Correct,
a lot of,
correct.
we've all have had, depending on how severe the trauma is. A lot of people will not will unknowingly have lived their whole lives with a piece of their soul that's sort of been pushed into the shadows and locked away, because it's
Hmm.
too painful to allow that piece to exist without healing it. So a lot of people lock parts of themselves away, and that's what soul retrieval is all about. It's about finding those pieces, going back and looking at the trauma and seeing exactly what happened. And once you go back and you look and you can see what happened, um, you know, from the future, you can see what happened, then you're able to look at it with a different kind of vision or eye, or your heart can you can allow your heart to open to that part of yourself that was so painful that you had to lock it away. So I help people do
Hmm.
that. I help people go back and figure out what it was that caused this separation, this fracturing of the heart space. And so that takes a lot of work. It's not something that's a one and done. It's something that you
Hmm.
have to, work on, so that you not, because if you try to do it all in one, then it can be very traumatic as
Yeah,
well.
I'm
So
sure.
you don't want to do that.
So are you saying that when you go back to that, that part of the reason you're able to look at it is because you're saying, look, you made it. You're
Hmm.
standing here. You're in a healthy and whole place. So what may have broken you at that time was actually maybe a breaking open, and you might, yeah. And so here from this place, you can look back with those eyes and say, okay, let me see this.
Right. And you may go back and feel that same feeling again, and a lot of people don't want to feel that, right? You
Mm.
don't want to go back and experience that trauma again, but the only way to get to the other side is to go
Through
through
it.
it. So we have to go through it, and in a way that you feel protected, and in a way that you
Mm.
feel like you're safe. So in a safe space, in a divine space, in a healing space. So that's what, as shaman, that's what we try to do, is to create wholeness where there
So,
once was fracturing.
so if someone came to you for that type of healing, someone like me, and you, but what you're going to do is they're going to be already knowing that as they step backwards, they're in a safe and sacred space, that you may feel the pain, but it can't. That if
Right.
you were raped or you were molested or something horrible, someone robbed you and it traumatized you, that they're not going to, that person isn't going to hurt you. You're going back to the
Right.
space.
You're going back with the intention of clearing that
Ah,
energy,
yes.
clearing
Okay,
that
good.
negative energy, clearing that out, so that you can pull that piece of your soul back into place, so that you can live a more full life, and you're not triggered every time something like that
Mhm.
shows up for you, in pictures, or in the experience of someone else. Maybe those things come up, and we are triggered by it because we haven't healed it within ourselves. I
Mhm.
mean, and I'm no different than anybody else. I have triggers, I have trauma. We all have that. And the key is to recognize it, to identify it, and then try to work with it and work on it, so that you can clear
Mm.
it. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's,
Of course, of course. So
because,
now
some
what is journeying?
journeying is, like, on my channel Black on Tuesday, I did a short journey into finding your sacred space. So it's about, usually when I journey through the trees, the portals of the trees, because I feel like there's like a sort of a highway underneath the surface of the earth, that where trees, they touch each other. There's a whole communication thing that goes on with trees under the surface. So if you can travel that energetically, you can move around the whole planet. You can move around the whole planet, and you divine your what things that you need to do. You can find answers. You can develop your sacred space there, which is what I do. I go into my sacred space, and then I sit down and I have a conversation with my guides, my ancestors, my angels. That is where I can go to heal as well, because those are my healing guides also reside there. Brown bear, black bear, beautiful shell woman. My wind horses are there. My small selves, my pieces of myself are also there. Places where I'm still working on moving energy through those traumatic spaces. Those pieces of me reside there as well. So I'm able to
Wow.
communicate with them.
Wow. So, I got so excited about having you here, I didn't even introduce you. I just got all started. So, let Toni, please introduce yourself.
I am Toni. My channel is Shining Hawk Healing, and I am a shaman. I do shamanic Reiki, and I do general healing, general energetic healing, which is I'm a intuitive, really sensitive, empathic, and claircognitive. So I walk into a room and I go, do, 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 do. Oops, problem. Oh, that person's happy. Oh, this person's sad, or this person's that, or watch out for that person. They've got like spikes coming out of their head or something. So it's like, that kind of thing. You can read the room really well, and read people really well. But, not that because like I keep saying, we're all human. You don't necessarily always pay attention to it. You
Correct.
try to, especially if you're at a party, you're like, I don't want to do this now. I want to have fun.
Correct. What's funny that you say that, because oftentimes I am also an empath, but when I'm like networking and stuff, I'm in kind of a different mode. So oftentimes I will take my wife, because she's an empath, and I'll see her standing next to me, and she's like, doo, 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 kind of like, remember the Bionic Man or whatever, doo, doo, just like, and I'll
You're
watch her. And
scanning.
so if she relaxes with the person, that, okay, I know it's good to continue, or she'll be like steering me around. And yeah, it's very important.
It's
Very
very
important.
important. And it's you can't turn it off. I mean,
Correct.
you can ask your guides to turn it down for you. If it's too high, if it's too loud, you can ask, divine intervention to turn the volume down. But, if you do this as your work, you really don't want to do that.
That's
But,
true. And the
you
other
gotta,
thing is that who you are energetically goes before you anyway. So you can be wearing your best outfit and have got your hair done. Me and Toni, part of the bald headed gang here, the little hair gang. So not too much work to get our hair done. But go dress to the nines. But if your energy's not there, people are picking that up. So they I got a weird feeling about that. But no, they look great. But something in you is telling you that. And so for us, yes, I've had to be more protective of myself, of my energy. Because yeah, like years ago I worked at a metaphysical store, and oftentimes people of color, so I love my folks, but Christianity got us by the nuts and just got us so damn scared of everything. Yes, I get it. That promise of a crown, and to finally feel loved and accepted, and the glory that we have been taught that's not going to be ours now. So I get it, but I don't buy into it anymore. But whenever they come into a metaphysical store, they find out you're a psychic. There's always that like, Or well, I don't, I believe in Jesus. Well, good. Have you read the book about Jesus? Right. So I try to, okay, calm myself down. So the whole story was this young black man came into the metaphysical store, and I was out in the front. They're like, oh, this is who does the reading. And, he's like, oh, well, you need those cards to do that. So part of it was going to be like, yeah, let me just go back to the room. I'm done with you. Right. So I said, no, I don't need that. I can, he said, well, can you do my energetic read? It's like, okay, I'm already energetically reading you. Right. So I just stood in front of him and ran my hand up and down and gave a spiel. And he was like, oh, right. Because your energy, the true you comes forward.
Yeah. I mean, this is just when you use cards, it's so that people can have a visual,
Correct.
Right? It doesn't necessarily mean that the message is this card for everybody means the same thing. It doesn't.
Correct.
It means something different according to their energy.
Correct.
So you can read these all you want, but what you're really reading is, like you said, you're reading the energy. And the energy never lies.
It's very true. And sometimes it's because
cards wrong.
That's true. That the guides, it's their guides and my guides in a reading. So now we're all trying to talk. And so, my guides are standing back, they're protecting me, and they're also sending me information. And now your team is talking to me. So sometimes her teams are so desperate to talk. They're like, oh my God, good. They went to a psychic. Okay. So now they're all trying to tell you something. And it's like, so the cards help you say, what is really the main message you need to hear? Yeah. I remember one time I had a reading, they were talking about walking away. So once I got the cards together, I went, and then I said, hold on just a minute. First, what? So just a second. I said to the team, now I'm talking to the team, like, you guys could have used the 8 of Cups and I would have got that right away. Right? They took me to this whole long around the way thing where the 8 of Cups would have told me right away, walk away. So it's all good.
Yeah. And it's, it's fun, and the cards are fun. I love doing cards.
I love my tarot cards.
I love doing cards. And I'm still a student of tarot. I've been studying for 20 years and I'm still a student. I still get my lessons in the mail every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And because for me, it's not necessarily about telling the future or seeing the future. It's about personal enrichment. It's about studying myself as a human being and as a spiritual being. It's about looking at what the symbols that have been created to sort of give you talk to your subconscious. And those symbols, the symbols on here on the cards, especially on the tarot cards, those are the ones, those symbols sort of speak to your subconscious level, your subconscious body, and they give you, things that they give you information that you might not ever have gotten before, in a way that speaks to you, and you have a knowing inside. Oh yeah, that's true. When somebody says, oh yeah, that's true. It's not really because I've said something that's so profound. It's because that what they're seeing speaks to that subconscious level.
You're bringing, and you are so right. I'm so glad that you said that, because sometimes I'll go and I want to support my friends' channel. So I'll go and watch them, and someone will say, well, tell me what's in store for me for the next 3 months. And my response is, what are the seeds you've been planting the last 6 months? That's what's in store for you for the next 3 months, right? You don't quite need a psychic for that. Turn around and say, what have I been doing these last 6 months, right? But okay,
it's hard because
this is about your personal enrichment. Your guides are wanting you to live your best, in my opinion, to live your best life, to bring your best to you. So get the junk out, connect with this, and that's, to me, what a tarot reading is about. Now, sometimes it'll be like, oh, I see, it looks like here there's something up here that's coming, but this is how you get ready for it. Or once you get through that, this is how you get past it.
Mm-hmm. And it's, and another thing that people who don't read, or people who get readings, need to understand, is that the energy is constantly changing.
Correct.
It may not, It's just because somebody says, oh, in December, so and so and so and so is going to happen. The energy changes. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's set in stone. There is no certainty about the future because there are always things that change it. There's like a drop, a stone that causes a ripple in the ocean. It just, goes out like a butterfly wings, whatever that is, that
Indeed, yeah, that there are
that
ripples,
saying.
indeed.
Yeah, the ripple of energy is, it's there. You can read that. But sometimes somebody else throws another stone in,
Correct.
causes that ripple to separate and do something different. So
Correct.
you never know. You can't know for certain that this thing is going to happen. You can hope that it will happen, and you can see that you're going in that direction for it happening, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it will actually happen the way you see it happening right now. So I try to get people to see that as well, that that changed energy is always changing it, and it changes form constantly. So
That's true.
we
And
have
Katie is saying, like, we don't need to, sometimes we don't need to know everything. And the one thing that I'm always focused on with a tarot reading is that the power is within you or my client. That is not something outside of you that is making this stuff happen. It's within you. So here, what do you want to create? Okay, let's do that. But you create that, but you have a fear or you have a place where you need healing. Your cards may be saying, do this, so that that very thing you want can come to you in the best form. I wanted to get married. I was so desperate to get married. So I got married and it was horrible. Why? Because I was horrible, right? My husband was doing the best that he could, but I was also horrible, right? It can't be like, he was a, okay, it takes two to tango.
Absolutely.
And so then as
Absolutely.
my healing came, then I was like, shit, right? Okay. So now I'm married again. And I'm like, this bitch is the best, right? Right? Because the work in me, and because she
Exactly.
understands that I'm still a work in progress. And she
Yes.
called me out. So last night I'm sitting up there trying to be a big girl. She's like, "Bill, why don't you just get in the bed?" Okay, I'm gonna take my iPad because I'm a big girl. I'm like, it's like 8:15. Okay. I go to bed early every night, but so again, that I did get the very thing I wanted, but it wasn't right for me. Or I
Yeah.
wasn't right for that at
Right.
that
Maybe
time.
you weren't ready for that.
Correct.
You weren't, you weren't in the place, in the space that would allow for that relationship to be
Correct.
successful.
I have to tell you,
So
girl, all the stuff the guides did to make it not happen, but I was determined. That's a
it's
different,
so weird
Tony, that's a
when you
different
don't listen to
conversation.
your guides and you go, what?
Exactly. Exactly. And
Why?
yeah,
And
that's
they're
right.
going,
Gerald's married
why?
now too. Gerald and Jeffrey got married.
They're going, why? You
Exactly.
decided to
Exactly. Look
do
what we
it
tried
that
to
way.
do. Look what we tried to do. Again, well, I want to end. First of all, thank you, everyone here. I love the conversation that is in the chat about, yes, how you deal with your fear. Dolly talking about how 9/11 really
I was
scared
in
her.
I was in New York 9/11, and
Wow.
it was it was like, I had never felt the wind in New York City. Like I mean, I'm from Chicago, and I know a windy city, but
Indeed,
but
indeed.
when this thing happened on 9/11, it just felt like all these souls were just like, what happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? And we're just, there was just pandemonium in the
Mm,
spiritual realm right there, in that space. It was so many souls at the exact same moment, and it just threw everything into chaos. And I mean, and there was chaos in the physical world, but in in the spiritual world, it was chaos. And it was, there were so many souls who just didn't know where to go, what to do.
mm,
And they were caught in this what just happened to me kind of mode. And you could
mm,
feel it
mm.
as an empath. You could feel it. It felt like it was so overwhelming that you just wanted to go put your head under the pillow and just wait for it to pass by. And it didn't for a good long time.
Indeed. Cynthia Pierce is here, and thank you. And Cynthia, I want you to text me. I want to talk to you. So yes, I can text her myself, but since she's right here, say, Cynthia, text me. So I want to end this show by putting it into your hands.
Okay.
And ask you to do the healing modality of your choice.
So I thought that I would just hold on. I would just do a meditation with my drum, which is healing. And if you didn't really warm it up this morning, it's too early.
And I will say, yes, thank you. It's not early on the West Coast. If you want to know more about Toni, I have her link down below, but she's Shining Hawk Healing. Please support her channel. She is making some moves to really bring her gifts, and I'm 100% support that. So let's be there. Let's be the healing we want to see in this world. Let's be the light that we want to see in the world, and connect to light workers, people who are really moving the divine forward. Wow. All right, Toni, give it to you.
Okay. And I want to send out a special healing to everyone in the chat. I see Katie. Hi, Katie. I see that you had back surgery. So, and yes. So everybody who's going through some physical healing, this is a heart meditation just to open the heart and to allow the space to fill with more and more and more love. So let's do, everyone close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more time. This is a healing meditation for the heart chakra. A meditation to allow the heart to open to universal love and light. We fill this space with angels, ancestors, guides of the highest light. Only those of the highest light. All others are not welcome in this sacred space. Today, I bestow the essence of love upon everything. Everyone I meet shall be lovely to me. My soul meets the soul of the universe in everyone. This love is a healing power, touching everything, turning everything into wholeness. The law of good is flowing through me. I am one with the rhythm of life. There is nothing to be afraid of. There is nothing to be uncertain about. God is here. God is all. In all and through all. God is right where I am. I am at peace with the world in which I live. I am at home with the divine spirit in which I am immersed. All that I am and all that I shall be is of God, is of love. And so it is. So mote it be. Amen. Open your eyes. Take a deep breath. Place your hands over your heart and feel that space. It's open. It's loving. It's who you are. It's who we all are. It's why we are here. Thank you.
I have nothing more to add to that than to say, take this energy with you. Have a blessed and beautiful day. If you have not, just go to Toni's channel, subscribe if you don't already, and share it with your friends. If you want to be touched by more of this angel-filled, light-filled, divine-filled being, find her at Shining Hawk Healing. And all of you have a beautiful day. Those of you that got weird weather like we have here, oh, Space, you're rising. Good to see you. Again, please subscribe to Toni's channel. Please join me Monday through Friday for Mindful Mornings with Minnassa. I'm still in this energy. It's almost hard for me to speak. Have a beautiful day. Thank you to everyone who came. Much love.